Welcome in, everyone. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, and click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. I hope you guys are having a great day. If you don't be quiet, drop me a comment and let me know that you're here. But as you recall, yesterday we did a very extensive live stream, covered a lot of charts, shared a lot of thoughts. Today we're going to kind of stick to time, keeping it at 30 minutes. And there were a couple things that I wanted to hit on that I didn't have an opportunity to speak to yesterday. We're going to take a look at, in particular, I'd like to take a look at the total 3 chart as well as the total chart. I'm not going to take a look at total 2. I mean, the difference between total and total 2 really is just one includes Bitcoin, one doesn't. When we're looking at total 2, that view is heavily skewed towards Ethereum just because Ethereum's market cap comprises so much of that distribution that I really just want to look at total and total 3. Total 3 will tell us sort of where altcoins are at, and total will tell us where the whole market is at. Also wanted to take a look at the Dixie, the DXY. We know that inverse relationship that exists. And then, of course, today is Tuesday, which means it is TA Q&A. There was one chart mentioned yesterday that I did want to take a look at, which was Matic. We haven't taken a look at it in a while, so we're going to take a look at that. But I do anticipate having time to take your questions today, so feel free to drop those in the comments. Now, one of the things I did want to share with you before we actually start discussing the price action we're seeing today, which shouldn't surprise kind of what we're seeing in the market and which is healthy. I'm beginning to see a lot of bullish sentiment come back into the market and a lot of attention being given to the Ethereum ETF and the front-running presidential candidate and his vice president and all these narratives. And what I would encourage you to do is to view that through the lens of skepticism. Keep in mind, don't confuse what I'm saying. I am very bullish entering 2025. However, how we get from point A to point B, there can be a lot of variability in between. I've always told you to expect the unexpected. We are not out of the woods yet. You know, we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about how we've seen a resurgence in price. It's very good to see that. However, we need key areas of price levels to sustain themselves as areas of support before we really start to get convinced that Bitcoin's going to be breaking out to a new all-time high as early as this month or next month, which should result in a very large run in altcoins. There is still the possibility that we could see a significant downturn in prices, which I'm less concerned about for Bitcoin. If we went down to that somewhere in the 48 to 52 range, I'd be more concerned with a lot of these altcoins. There are a lot of underperforming altcoins like your Harmony ones, your Digibytes, your Sushi Swaps, your Caspers. They have not performed well. And if the market underwent a heavy correction at current levels, it would be devastating for a lot of those altcoins. So we'll have to see if that large correction is from much higher price levels, which should in theory imply that our altcoins would be much higher, or if something more unexpected happens and it's in the shorter term here. But I would just encourage everyone to stick to the charts and remain very objective about what's going on and not feed into those emotional narratives. There's a lot of prominent YouTube channels out there that are flip-flopping thumbnails to catch your attention. I'm just encouraging you not to feed into that stuff. Again, this may not be a large channel, okay, but I've been here for several years. I've seen a lot in this market since 2018, okay? So I'm encouraging everyone to take a deep breath and allow the charts to continue flowing here, and they will tell us with a higher degree of conviction what we can anticipate. Todd, super chats are never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you for your continued support, which I gave you a shout out on Twitter yesterday. Just reiterated that. Really appreciate the support, my friend. Real quick, before we start actually getting into the charts, I got some new swag today. Got myself a little Caspa mug. So I got this through Etsy. I just looked up Caspa mug, found it on Etsy. It's my new mug, so I like this. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this on my desk here. I don't want my desk too cluttered, or if I'm actually just going to use it. I might just end up using it as a coffee mug. But regardless, price action right now. Let's just quickly talk about more of a lower time frame price action on the 12-hour. This is very, very healthy what we're seeing. What we've seen now is we've seen prices come all the way up to the 200 and gravitate in this area. Now, I love to see that the 63.8 right now is holding as an area of support. And I love to see that price has gravitated at the 200 simple moving average. It's hovering right in there. What that's going to allow, so long as we can sustain price levels right around where we're at right now, what that will allow is for the 50 to begin to flatten. You can already see it's flattened and curl up, and then the 200 will begin to flatten and curl back up as well, and we'll get that golden cross. So definitely healthy and good to see that prices are where they're at. Again, something that would be even more bullish for us and what I'd like to see on this chart, spoke to it yesterday, really want to get in this 65.6 to 68 zone by the end of the week. Would love to see that. But without further ado, let's take a look at what we're experiencing on a few other charts, because we didn't have an opportunity to take a look at this yesterday just because there was so much other commentary to speak to. So again, inverse, the whole premise here is that in generalities, it's not day for day movement, movement for movement each week and day, but in generalities, there is an inverse relationship, okay? Or stated differently, a negative correlation, which exists between the movements in the dollar index and risk on assets, whether you're talking about the stock market or crypto. And so when one goes up, the other goes down and vice versa. Now, in this case, what we are seeing is we're seeing a breakdown in trend, which is what we were expecting, right? We're seeing some bearish price action on the DXY, which is what we want to see as a bull in the crypto market. You can see there's been a general ascending line of support here that right here has broken. And right now what's happening is, and you can also see the lower highs coming in, denoted by this descending black line of resistance here. But what we're doing right now is, this isn't magic. I came up with this area of price confluence here right around 104.2. We're holding on to 104.2. I don't see a lot of room. Well, actually, it looks like the 103 area. Once we break the 105, which I would suspect will happen over the course at some point in the next couple weeks here, it looks like 103 is our next major area, followed by 101. And of course, you have that 100 psychological area. The more this DXY continues to break down, this is on the weekly, the more it benefits us within the crypto industry or as a crypto investor in terms of wanting to see some bullish reaction within the market. You can also see a lot of these technical indicators are weak or breaking down, like the MACD is breaking down. The stochastic RSI is below 20 in a negative cross, and the relative strength index is slightly oversold at 46.8. Neutral would be around 50, so slightly oversold there. So DXY is looking a little weak. We really want to see further downside, which I'm anticipating over the course of the next couple weeks. I would suspect we'll at least be at 103 by the end of the month. That would be my educated guess. Let's take a look at the total market here. Here we go. The one thing we didn't look at, let me just see this real quick. XRP's having a nice day. Let me see. Traditional markets. Just want to take a look at traditional markets, which can tell us a lot about crypto as well, in terms of, they generally are correlated with one another. Again, we're just talking about risk on or risk off. That really is the question. So looks like we're having a nice day in the stock market. Would be curious to check out how Coinbase's stock is doing. I would take an educated guess and say that it's looking pretty sexy at the moment. Yes, it is. We're right at resistance. So interestingly enough, you can see on the weekly on Coinbase's publicly traded stock, we're soon going to be pressing up against 270, which I think the next time you see this thing 10% higher at 270, we're at about 252 right now, we'll be setting new all-time highs here. So, well, technically not new all-time highs since the IPO, but still, chart looks very, very strong. We sort of have like a, Nah, I don't think that's actually true. But this is the weekly. It looks like the MACD is flattened out. It wants to start curling up. Stochastic RSI is gaining momentum, and it's had a positive cross. RSI looks good at 61. So Coinbase's stock is looking very attractive at the moment for a potential break past 270. So getting into the total cryptocurrency market cap, welcome in track. By the way, guys, don't forget, drop your questions in the comments, and I will get to the ones that I have time for. I'm already going to be looking at Matic. So you can see the bullish hammer candlestick here that I had shared with you, not only on Bitcoin's weekly chart, but also the total market cap. Panned out for several weeks, but we ended up taking out those lows. The question, of course, we're asking ourselves is, are we getting some sort of a range deviation at the moment, or are we anticipating even lower lows? Keep in mind, you know, something I was thinking of prior to this live stream. This chart's getting a little cluttered. I think everybody here knows. Well, I'll undo this. This region, I wanted to share a thought with you, something I was thinking about this afternoon over my lunch break, actually. This was the range at which we were accumulating in, right? And we talked about how healthy it was, that price action was cooling off and providing stability in this range. It's great to see price action do that. We don't want to see things go up too high too fastly because in generalities, there'll be a sharp sell-off. In this case, we're creating nice market structure to provide a base to continue higher. Also, when prices come down to these levels, it provides a floor, right, of support. Now, we've deviated from that range, and there's really only two scenarios that I see playing out here. I want to make this perfectly clear, and that's why this week is so important. Not only for what I alluded to yesterday, but the question we have to ask ourselves, and the only way we'll know the answer, is to allow price action to tell us moving forward as it continues to print. Was this a range deviation? Because we've spent a lot of time talking about range deviations within Bitcoin and a fake out. Or is this a true deviation from this range here? If it's a true deviation from the range, we shouldn't, in my opinion, spend a lot of time back up in this range. We should roll over relatively soon, and we should come lower into this area. If we had a range deviation, a fake out, as soon as we've gotten back up into this area, I don't anticipate us staying in this area long. Now that we've reclaimed the range, okay, exhibiting a lot of strength, if we stay in here for a week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at most, I don't expect us to just chip and chop in here. That seems like a very unlikely event. So what I'm attempting to tell you is that I really only see two main scenarios at this point. This is either one big fake out, and relatively soon we're going to roll over down here, okay? Or we've reclaimed the range. We're not going to spend a lot of time in here. We've already been consolidating in here from March. We got right back up in there. In the next handful of couple weeks here, we're going to be creating new all-time highs. So it's really one of those two scenarios that I see panning out. We'll allow the price to tell us more convincingly what our primary view is, or primary hypothesis, by the end of this week. Hopefully that made sense. What's up, Donkey Dong? Haven't seen you in a while. Then again, I was incognito there, traveling for a little bit. So let's get off this. What's up, Evan? Good to see you, my friend. Couple observations here, actually. There's a reason I had that, but I think that reason has passed. Couple observations here. Query. That's what one of my professors used to say. Query CBG. Yes, professor. I don't know what the hell his name was. So you can see we're sort of in a flagging formation. I think we showed something similar on Bitcoin. This really, again, just telling you what the chart is telling us. This is a flagging formation. This is technically a bull pennant. So it'll be interesting to see if that formation pans out. But right now, we've reclaimed this major area here at 2.2 trillion. Keep in mind, when this market really starts to move, again, accounting for the fact that there are a lot of altcoins that have lagged, and trust me, been here again for a long time. There's going to be a lot of altcoins that continue to underperform, and they'll never reach their all-time highs. Okay, it's a fact. Okay, but because there's been major underperformance, let's fucking go, Josh. In the altcoin market, once the altcoin market really starts to pick up and Bitcoin setting a new all-time high, this market cap easily will go from 2 trillion to 4 trillion in a very short period of time. But it's very, very, very good to see us reclaim this area here. Didn't like us hanging out down below this region. Now we just have to make continued progress. If we look at some of these technical indicators, we've reclaimed the 50 level, which is great to see. We don't want to be below that 50 level on the RSI. Check out the stochastic RSI. Again, we see momentum coming in here. Will it be another fake out like we saw in June? Or like in most times past when we've seen a positive confirmation on a bullish cross above the 20 stochastic RSI, will we see strength come into the market and strong continuation to the upside? Look at the MACD. I really like to see what's going on with this MACD. It's attempting, not only is it attempting to flatten out here, look at the histogram. You see how it's declining and the red is turning lighter in color? Very, very good to see. Now, this isn't going to have a positive cross by next week, but if momentum continues to persist within the market, you will see a positive cross within the next few weeks here. So again, that's why I'm saying, this week, the month of July, these are critical weeks to tell us not high time frame any concerns we have in the market, but more shorter to intermediate time frame. What can we kind of expect going into the end of this year? And again, I did share this yesterday, but my predominant view at the moment, for various reasons that I've shared here, is that we're not going to have a true blow off top until the first half of 2025, whether it's the first quarter or second quarter. Now, again, I'm not concerned about a price level. I'm not concerned about a time frame. I am looking at the 6 independent, historically significant data points. That is what's going to tell me with conviction when it is smart to begin selling your assets. Again, I think there's a lot of value in this video if you have not caught it. I can't think of anyone who has approached a market sell strategy like this. Most people, when you listen to them, they will speak about specific timing when they're looking to sell, which I think is faulty. And they will look for a specific price target to begin selling, which I think is very faulty. Okay? And I think this is where I can add a lot of value to your overall view of the market. Again, not just a chartist. I'm not just a technical analyst. I'm also an actuary. So inherently, being an actuary, I'm a real data-driven guy who spent 20 years removed from charts, doing statistical analysis and sort of forming my brain under those conditions, right? So I'm taking a lot of that thought process of being a statistician essentially and applying it to charting. So I think this is a very logical video. If you haven't checked it out, I would encourage you to at least see if it adds value for you. Let's take a look at the altcoin market. I'm going to jump into TA Q&A. We're going to kick things off with Matic, and then I'm going to look to the comments. And if there's nothing in the comments, I'm just going to stare at the camera until someone drops me some tokens to chart. Okay. Total 3. Looks like this was a Gaussian view channel. Okay. Looking healthy. We're well above the channel here, which is great to see. Once we flip from red to green, you just don't want to re-enter the Gaussian channel. So really, really good to see. Let's flip off the Gaussian channel for a moment. Let's focus on price action. This is the weekly. This chart is going to tell you, okay, just snapshot. Boom. What's this chart telling us? Tell it to me, CBG, in layman's terms. If you pull up the total 3, this is going to give you a true depiction of the strength of altcoins and the altcoin market. Of course, we could take a look at others. Maybe we'll take a look at it. That excludes the top 10. So it removes even more skewness within the chart towards the heavily weighted market caps of the top 10 and looks at the ones outside of the top 10 to give you the lower market cap view of the market. Maybe we can take a quick look at that. But total 3 is looking good. And again, this view right here, and I'll attempt to translate my thoughts coherently here, but as soon as I look at this view and the 3 key indicators that I always look at with any chart, this is telling me why it is such an important week within crypto this week. This stochastic RSI has curled above the 20 confirmation line, which historically has led to large runs on any of these charts that we take a look at on the higher time frames. The RSI is above 50, we're at 54. Would love to get above 70 where we really start to see some price action. You can see right here when we broke 70, you can see what happened. And if we go back through the history of the charts, you'll see the same thing. So the RSI is getting closer and closer to 60. We want to see it break up to 70, but loving the MACD. You can see during this continued move to the downside, look at this histogram picking up red. We've diminished the red, we're decreasing on the histogram, and we're flattening out on the MACD. Now, not only that, but we've reclaimed a key area of price confluence at about 600 billion. Let's just focus on price action. We've reclaimed the 600 billion. And again, you can see 700 billion is a tough area, right? And really, there's a zone. We could clone this line, and we could talk about a zone right in there. So there's really a key cluster of resistance at 660 to 700. When we flip to this view, guys, take a moment to hit the thumbs up for all this alpha that I am providing you. Small channel, big content, appreciate the engagement, helps the channel out. There's really a cluster of resistance we're going to experience between 660 and 700. When we start to clear that zone, as I always say, when we clear the zone and we get up here, let's have a conversation, because that's when things are going to get really interesting. This is the only thing that's in our way right here towards getting up to the all-time high areas, up towards 1 trillion and beyond. So momentum is starting to pick back up, and this week is going to be critical. You lazy motherfuckers are not hitting the thumbs up. I'm not poetic on this channel. I call a spade a spade. There are apparently a lot of lazy individuals watching this. Yes, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you lazy, and I'm calling you unappreciative of the content that I'm putting out, because you literally can't hit the thumbs up button. I don't understand why the fuck people can't just hit the thumbs up button. I don't understand it. Why? Why? See, it causes interruption on the channel. I could continue flowing. And by the way, we're stopping at 30 minutes. So the less engagement I get, the more I have to sit here and stare at the camera awkwardly and ask for thumbs up, because this is how I'm judged by YouTube. Okay? YouTube doesn't know how good the quality of the content is unless there's user engagement. And I see people dropping off, which is fine. They added no value anyway because they were watching and not interacting with the channel. Let us move on. So you can see on the others here, let's get this off. This was from a while ago. We've been in an uptrend. We've been in an uptrend since the end of 2022. Let's not lose that perspective. We have higher highs and higher lows coming in. What I'm going to be watching for on the total others, now this is, again, as a refresher, this is anything, this is anything outside of the top 10. So once again, this is a view that in layman's terms is telling us, let's take the skewness out from the top 10, because the top 10's a lot. You can see how high the market caps are. If we look at the top 10, you can see a lot of them in here are 20 billion, 30 billion, and then you start getting outside of the top 20, lower and lower, you're getting under a billion, right? So what I'm saying is, on total 3, the total 3 view is somewhat skewed towards the top 10. They comprise so much of that market. Well, let's take out the top 10. Let's look at the smaller market caps. This is everything outside of the top 10. What I'm really going to be watching for here, let's get this off. What I'm going to be watching for, and actually I'd rather do this, is for this downward area of resistance to break. You can see the resistance here. I want to start pressing up past the 293. Let's get above this area. Once we start to get a weekly candle body close up in this area, I think it's going to be fucking game on. Now, technically, it's still a lower high. We would have a high here, we'd have a lower high here. It's still, you could still technically say you could do something like this, and we can't rule that out. But in my educated opinion, if we see a weekly close relatively soon above this 293 zone, I think it is going to be game on for altcoins, and we're going to see a pretty decent run here. If we take a look at the price indicators, and then we're going to jump into TA Q&A with the remaining time we have here. Stochastic RSI is peaking its head above 20, which is great to see. Positive confirmation. Uno minuto, amigos y amigas. I pride myself being the only YouTube streamer in crypto to randomly leave a live stream for 30 seconds and come back. And you guys don't ask questions, which I appreciate. And everyone is still tuning in. Sometimes I gain viewers when I leave. I don't know what that says about the channel when I leave and more viewers come on. That's probably not a good sign, but we're just going to continue to roll with it. So this is others, and as you can see, what I like to see, like I said on the price indicators, we're starting to see a reversal back to the upside. Now, again, we don't really have any true bullish confirmation here beyond a stochastic RSI peaking above 20. It's just the way to phrase this accurately is we're starting to turn around MACD. We're starting to turn around RSI. We're starting to turn around on price, right? We just need continued momentum to sustain itself. There's no reason why we can't even break the trend and then just continue rolling over. But again, getting above this area right here at 293 would be pivotal. Guys, let's get into TA Q&A. There we go. All right. Let's get off this chart. Let's get off this chart. Let's get off this chart. Leave me. All right, let's take a look at Matic. There was a question that came in yesterday on Matic, and I thought we can certainly do that track. This is a chart we haven't taken a look at in a while. It's been an underperformer. And so let's just kind of have an honest conversation about what's going on in the chart. Now, let's just set the stage here. When we bounced in June, which I actually think this was the low in Ethereum as well, I believe. I'm not going to go to the chart, but I thought that's what happened. When we saw the bounce here from 33 cents, and we came all the way, let's just go back in time. When we had this bounce, right, and we were sitting pretty. We were at 33, and then to start 2023, we're all the way up at $1.50. I mean, we were looking very good. But since then, look what has happened in the chart. Since this point here, you can see lower highs and actually lower lows. And you can see, now, one could argue, let me see, 43. It's kind of, I think it's debatable given the level of volatility on Matic that this is a double bottom relative to here. Regardless, it is a lower low. And the chart is beginning to break down here, and it doesn't look the healthiest. Now, am I implying that Matic isn't going to go up with the rest of the market? No, and if you thought that for 1 second, you haven't listened to anything I've been saying on this stream for a while now. A rising tide lifts all boats. Even the shittiest of altcoins like a Casper or a Sushi Swap, they're going to go up. But the question you have to ask yourselves is, will the token continue to underperform, or will it somehow turn around and outperform, right? Well, the chart's going to tell us that. We have to allow the chart to do the work for us and then objectively interpret the data. Right now, this is not a strong chart, right? But let's see if there are signs of a potential trend reversal to the upside. I'm not seeing bullish divergence in the RSI. That's not good. Now, we are seeing some of these technicals begin to turn around down here on the weekly, but I'm just not liking what I'm seeing at the moment. Just keeping things real like I always do. If we go to a 2-week, now let's zoom out on a monthly. That's interesting. I think I'm gonna rechart this. It's just getting too busy for me. I'll do that every now and then. If I haven't looked at a chart in a while and it looks a little too busy, I'll come back to it and just rechart it. One of the interesting things here, and sometimes that's helpful, especially it's helpful that if I charted this a year and a half ago and really haven't made many updates, and we have a year and a half more of price data, obviously that gives you a more informed view, a more current view of price action, and so you can kind of reinterpret your view of the chart, right? But for the moment, let's see if we can make this work. Not quite, but still illustrates the point. You can see this downtrend we're in, and technically we're still in we're in a downtrend, but we've still created a higher low, right? Because of back here, it hasn't been very strong lately. Now, someone will look at this and say, "Oh my God, this is a bull flag." No, I think you're sadly mistaken if that's what you think. But for me, what I would be watching for Matic is really when we start breaking above a $1.30 to looks like a $1.60. $1.30 to a $1.60 is when I would start to get excited. Until then, it's like many other charts that we've taken a look at where I'm always honest with you guys. I've been bullish on Matic for a long time, right? But I'm not going to come out here, and if something in the chart has changed and it looks more bearish and not as promising, I'm not going to come out here and tell you. It just goes against every moral fiber in my body to not come out here with integrity and just tell you what I see in the charts. And the chart has been looking weaker as of late, so it needs to show us something. Quick question before I get into charting here. Donkey Don, do you really expect alt season anytime before September or late October? We have to expect the unexpected. I spoke to this yesterday, Donkey, that if you were on the live stream, I spoke to a great example, recent example, of the halving and how we hit a new all-time high prior to the halving, which has never happened. It threw most people off. If you tuned into this channel, it shouldn't have thrown you off because I prepared you for that scenario. But it speaks to two things. One, the immaturity of the data, the limited sample sets of data that we have to work with to draw conclusions with moving forward, the relative immaturity of the market. And two, no certainties in the market. Bitcoin likes, and the crypto market likes to do the unexpected. And I just spoke to what the question you were asking yesterday. Do I really expect? I think it's possible. And again, I actually go back to the live stream yesterday. I painted it all out. I could see two sort of alt seasons, with the biggest alt season coming in during the blow off top, right? But again, this is what I'm using to tell me that the market is likely topping out. So that's what I would stick to. But go back to the commentary towards the latter part of the live stream yesterday. I kind of speak to what you're getting at. Cardano's boring, my friend. We're not going to even look at Cardano. We don't have time to. But we will look at Pepe. I think you mean Pepe, right? I don't know what. PP? I don't know what that is. Pepe. I think you mean Pepe. I don't know what PI is. I could be missing something. Oh, no, you're serious. I have no fucking clue what this is. Okay, so this really is your question. So let's take a look at this. So Track has a question on Brett's looking strong as fuck. I find it comical. I honestly find it comical that people still will refuse to invest any of their portfolio into a social or meme token. It's literally been the #1 narrative, and it's going to continue to be a dominating narrative going into the blow off top, people must hate making money. Remember, I was the guy who came out here many months ago at this point, and said, hey, I never gave meme coins the attention before, but now I'm recognizing the error of my ways, and I see this is a huge narrative within the market. Don't fight the narrative. There's a lot of sexy meme coin charts out there. Your portfolio, in my opinion, no financial advice, should be comprised somewhat of a meme coin asset allocation. And if you haven't done that, your portfolio has underperformed. I'm just saying, you must hate making money. I don't understand it. Okay. Mexi, not a lot of price data here, my friend. If this is the most price data we have. Yeah, not a lot of price data here. So relatively immature. Now, whenever I get a chart like this and it is relatively immature, of course, what we're going to do right now is this, because I can't fucking read that chart. Okay, now these numbers look more sensical over here by multiplying the USD value by 100,000. So whenever looking at a chart like this, the only thing we can do to try to draw any meaningful conclusions is to go to a lower time frame. I'm not going to go lower than a 12-hour. Looks like we're starting to level out. High level observation on the 12-hour. It looks like we're trying to level out and get some renewed momentum in here to the upside. And it looks like this is, I will say this. I always hesitate to comment too much on an immature asset like this. Really no price data. But based on the limited price data that we have, this is a good looking chart. I like this chart. Now, there is a higher level of risk on a play like this because the data is so immature. The only potential bearish sign I see is a potential rising wedge, but I don't give that a lot of weight. I see a nice ascending channel here. I see nice higher highs and higher lows coming in, and I see a major area of resistance, guys. You can see this. This is not hard to sniff out. It's right here. And again, I like to take this area of resistance and press it right up against these candle bodies here. You can see these two candle bodies it's touching, and then it gets all these wicks in here, okay? So there's really all that region of there's a region of resistance, I should say, right around this area. You can see all the touches, right? So once we start breaking above, and again, the USD value is multiplied by 100,000. Once we start to break above 30 to 33 cents here, that's when we should see some renewed vigor within this chart. And of course, the all-time high, we have to break above there at 40 cents. So good-looking chart. Immature, but good-looking chart. Kyle, welcome in. It's good to see you. You know what? I'll do one more chart. We're running over at the moment, and I'm going to have a hard stop here. So another meme coin question on dog. I haven't paid any attention to this chart. Let's consolidate a bit on a daily. Again, similar. Again, chart overall looks good. I like the chart. There's a higher degree of risk in something like this, not only because it's a smaller market cap, the data is so immature. So just exercise a level of caution, in particular with how I'm analyzing things and what I'm saying to you. But overall, I really like what I'm seeing here. Price indicators, similar to the last chart, are beginning to turn around here, which is nice to see. And the other observation, this is like a no-brainer to me. You can see we're in a general downtrend. Okay, so we want to start to break up against this downtrend. And it's the same commentary I would provide to you on any other chart, like when we heavily analyzed Bitcoin yesterday. We want to begin to break the lower highs, right? And we want to flip those into areas of support from red to green, okay? And you can kind of see the price levels I'm laying out here. So it looks like 0.6 cents and 0.7 cents. And I would put one right in there at about 0.83 cents, and then our all-time high. So these are really your major areas of resistance. Again, this is a daily, immature data, but it looks like the technicals are trying to take a break to the upside here and reverse things. We've been in a downtrend, right? You can always look at these indicators, and I'll give you a little clue here. It's quite often something we look for on a lot of the charts we've looked at in the past. One of the things I like to do to assess the overall strength within a chart in a downtrend is for any bullish divergence to be taking place within this chart. Now, on the daily, there is no bullish divergence. However, at the same time, the data is just so immature. Now, if we go down, I'm sure if we went down to a 4-hour chart, maybe there is. Yeah, there's a little divergence, a little bit, but nothing major. It's just data so immature. But you can look to these price indicators to help tell a story in terms of, could the downtrend be over? And the answer to that question is a cautious, possibly yes. Because the MACD is turning around, the RSI looks good, it's beginning to flip around. It's still oversold at 47, we're getting closer and closer to 50. And this stochastic RSI looks good. So again, we want to break the downtrend. We really want to start getting up into these price levels and hold these price levels. It's going to begin to invalidate the lower highs that had come in here. So that is what I am seeing on DOL. Guys, I will be back here tomorrow. Make sure, man, I don't know what I did to my toe. Make sure I'm injuring myself left and right. I have a slight strain in my glute hamstring area. I did something to my toe. My hands are all shredded up. I got to take better care of myself. I have nobody to take care of me. I got to take care of myself. Feel sorry for me. Now, did want to say I will be back here tomorrow. Once again, I promise you that. I will be back here tomorrow. Thursday's up in the air. Thursday looks pretty doubtful that I will be here for a live stream. Of course, so all my friends, I know, oh my gosh, Logical in Norway. I know that you guys like the live stream super early in the morning. I think there's a possibility for that on Thursday. But if there is no early live stream on Thursday, look out for an atypical live stream on Friday, because I'm not going to be able to live stream on Thursday evening. So make sure to catch the live stream tomorrow, though. I will be back here around normal time, 5:30, somewhere around there. Until next time, everybody, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. Thank you so much for the engagement today. Take care, everybody.